Who the hell's sitting next to me?
That's Joe.
Is this another cosplayer?
His name's Joe.
Hey, welcome to Bonehead. This week we have a special guest star. Chad.
Hey!
I saw that coming.
Something's different.
You're not wearing a crutch? Knee crutch?
I don't think you wear crutches.
Crutches, yeah. You use.
As many times
you
as you
bigots,
molested.
forearm crutches attached to the wrist and therefore are worn.
You wouldn't know that unless you
Bigots.
watched There's Something About Mary.
Actually, I know several people that use forearm crutches.
I'm so sorry. Do they also work in education? Are you going to
No,
also
but
give
one
me
of them,
some statistics?
One of them works in computers, I believe.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
because they just can't swing a sledgehammer?
Sledgehammer! Don't you call my name? Ow!
All right. Today on Bonehead, we have a fascinating topic. What is it, boys?
Post-apocalyptic movies or apocalypse movies, however you want to say it.
It needs to be post, because, I mean, Apocalypse would be leading up to it. So you could say any documentary made right now is a...
Movies. We could do TV shows. We almost started a few years ago at another institution. A friend of ours wanted to do a post-apocalyptic book club.
I thought it was
Really?
dystopia.
Dystopian literature.
Yeah, dystopia.
What's
I
the
mean,
difference?
Yeah.
Dystopia means that, I mean, it's not necessarily post-apocalyptic. It means we tried to create a utopia. It went wrong and became a dystopia.
But couldn't we argue that most of the things we're going to talk about aren't all that post-apocalyptic because there's still a bunch of people alive?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can make that argument, sure.
And I'm sure every movie we're going to talk about is depressing because the world went to pot and nobody lived a happy life. Right?
I don't know.
Because that is a key element to the post-apocalyptic movie is there's no happiness.
No, there's some really happy post-apocalyptic tales.
Really?
I have
You want me to throw one out?
I have two.
Are you bringing them up?
I two of mine aren't. I don't think are overly dire.
Okay. All mine are.
Oh, good. Well, then we're good. We're good. Because you and I were worried that we might have the same ones. We're good.
Well, yeah, okay.
We're good.
And, you know,
Actually, two of mine are fairly lighthearted.
one of mine's lighthearted, but it's still, it's not very...
Okay.
So anyway.
Before we get started, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, one little tidbit of information, because I don't think any of us are going to talk about this, but when I was doing research for post-apocalyptic movies, did you know the highest watched TV movie of all time is a post-apocalyptic movie?
Is it Damnation Alley?
No, it's The Day After from 1983.
Oh, The Day After. Isn't that directed by what's-his-face?
I don't know. I didn't see who the director was.
It's directed, James, Star Trek 2.
Nichols?
Nicholas Meyer.
Yeah.
Written by Edward Hume.
Yep.
But it starred Steve Guttenberg, Jason Robar.
I've never seen it.
John Lithgow. I haven't seen it either.
He talks about it in his book, A View from the Bridge. If you read Nicholas Meyer's autobiography, it's pretty good.
And I saw a couple. I didn't even hear the audio. When I was doing research on it, I saw a couple of stills of it. And John Lithgow. Can I just say one thing? John Lithgow is the only person I know who, as he's gotten older, looks less scarier. The young John Lithgow is terrifying, even when he's playing a good guy.
Yeah, because Willem Dafoe still looks just as creepy now as he ever did.
William Dafoe's always been creepy.
That's what I was thinking. Willem Dafoe. God, that right there, that's just mean.
By the way, let me go ahead real quick and pitch this. Listen, Hollywood, I've got an idea. I've told Joe about this since I met him. Listen, it's a movie called The Freak
about
League.
The donkey?
No, Freak League.
Different idea that he's trying to pitch to me.
We get all the quote-unquote horror-type movie actors. I don't mean like Bruce Campbell. I mean all the people that have played horrible people in movies. So we get Christopher Walken. We get William Dafoe. We get those people they were talking about. Brad Dourif. And we create the Freak League. And it's all these villains that have to come together and stop the end of the world. I'll write the script tomorrow.
That should change the subject. Did you start the timer?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah,
and
anyway.
then the final countdown.
All right, the one thing that we all three agreed on 5 minutes before we started rolling is that we're actually not going to talk about zombies.
No.
None of us picked. We each picked 3 movies like we normally do, 3 or 4 or 5. We will argue when one of us happens to have picked the other one, but none of us intentionally pick zombies.
Because zombie movies in of themselves is its own genre. It's a subgenre of a post-apocalyptic movie.
It is, and Romero already perfected it, and everyone ripped him off, and we're done.
Yeah.
I mean, There's several that we could recommend. Actually, I'd recommend both versions of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Or Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. Definitely Shaun of the Dead.
That's a lighthearted one.
Yes. That necessarily is not even a post-apocalyptic because everything got better. Bunch of
It
people
does.
died.
Bunch of people died, though. They don't come back.
Nope.
And it's pretty bad.
Well, one of them does.
Yeah, well, he didn't come back. He's just out in his shed.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah, sorry. If you're listening or watching this and you enjoy Bonehead and you've never seen Shaun of the Dead,
Good Lord, what's wrong with you?
I kind of have to question what you've been doing with your time. Now, don't get me wrong. Keep watching and listening.
Yeah,
But take an hour or two and watch Shaun of the Dead.
agreed.
All right, then. Who wants to go first?
You want me to go first?
Go first.
Because
Joe
mentioned what I was actually going to do.
Since you haven't been on an episode in over a month, go for it.
The things have happened. I've got stuff. I have a life outside this.
No, you don't.
I don't really. I was over in the corner.
We
trying to
don't
film.
even know who you are.
Yeah.
I don't even know who I am anymore. Who am I?
Oh my God.
We're up here making things happen. We're going to have a panel at Comic-Con. Where you been at? By the way,
Where
Friday,
have I been?
March 22nd, Friday at 7 p.m. Comic-Con. Come see Bonehead live.
Yep.
Where have I been? I'll tell you where I've been. Damnation Alley.
Lexington Comic-Con.
Damnation Alley.
That'll also be the name of the panel at Lexington Comic-Con, March 22nd at 7 p.m.
Now,
How many more times can I send that home?
Somebody's going to show up and be like, why isn't this called Damnation Alley in the book?
It's Bonehead, but really what that is Venezuelan for Damnation Alley.
Now you've offended the Venezuelans.
We don't have a big draw there. North Carolina and the Middle East, brother.
Yeah, that's really where we're huge. India. Yeah,
India.
Yeah. So Damnation Alley was a film that was directed by Jack Smite. Jack Smite. Everybody knows Jack Smite, right? I don't know.
I heard he
really.
smote it.
He's done smitten.
That's the past tense of his last name.
So it's based on a novel
Those are good.
by Roger Zola. I'm going to screw this up. By the way, apologies to Anthony Zerbe. Now that I know that I said that wrong. Backtracking, when we were talking about character actor, I pronounced it Anthony Zerbe. That is because I've only ever read it. I've actually never heard anybody say
I
it.
actually never heard his last name.
So I was actually going to do that to kick off the show. I wanted to apologize. I don't like when people mispronounce names. I did it. My excuse that I had only ever read it before, and I mispronounce most things if I've only ever read it. So I apologize for that. Back to Damnation Alley.
We will tell you a story later on about how another character actor corrected us, and hopefully we'll have him on the show.
And thank you for doing that. I seriously do
We
appreciate
can't
it.
say his name, but yeah.
But, so Roger Zelzny, whatever, I can't pronounce his name, but wrote this book. And let me tell you the kind of plot to the book. Okay, now listen. Joe, you've seen Damnation Alley, right?
I've never seen Damnation.
Okay.
Neither have I.
Well, here's the plot introduction for the book. The story opens in a post-apocalyptic Southern California in a hellish world shattered by a nuclear war that lasted decades before. Several police states have emerged in place of the former United States. Constant hurricane-force winds about 500 feet prevent any sort of air travel from one state to the other, and sudden, violent, and unpredictable storms make day-to-day life a mini hell. Hell Tanner,
That poor Iowa Tourism Board.
Hell Tanner, an imprisoned killer, is offered a full pardon in exchange for taking on a suicide mission.
This sounds like Escape from New York.
A drive-through this was made well before Escape from New York, so
I know.
Carpenter owes a check. A drive-through Damnation Alley across a ruined America from Los Angeles to Boston as one of 3 Landmaster vehicles attempting to deliver an urgently needed plague vaccine. So there's bombs everywhere, things have gone to crap, and then there's a plague too.
Who's in the movie?
Well, that's the plot to the book. Now, in the movie, instead of it being convicts having to do it, you know who they call on, right?
Sean Connery.
Jan Michael Vincent, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Who had been dead a month before
Yes.
it came out. Did you see that?
No, I thought he just died this week.
No.
It
The
came
news
out,
came out this week, but he died February the 10th
Yeah.
Wow.
at Asheville, North Carolina.
Huh.
So in the movie, they thought it would be more recognizable
Yeah.
if it was military instead of prisoners. So Jake Tanner, they removed Hell from his name, was played by Jan Michael Vincent, and they actually live in a ICBM silo.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to basically They go across country, meet an aspiring artist, which is played by Paul Winfield.
I know who Paul Winfield is. Star Trek 2.
And it was all caused by the Soviet Union, blah, 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 blah. But the reason the movie is so cool as a historic artifact is, A, the effects are very dated now, but it came out at the exact same time as a upstart film.
Star Wars?
Star Wars. As a matter of fact, Fox released them both. Fox released them both on the same weekend, and honestly felt that Damnation Alley would be the one.
I've actually heard that part of the story before. I've never seen the movie.
It starred Jan Michael Vincent, George Papard, Dominique Sonda, Paul Winfield, and a young Jackie Earle Haley. And Jackie Earle Haley is somebody that they rescue. But there's the scene that's burned into my memory is there's a motorcycle scene and giant cockroaches come out. And they're giant because, see, radiation, Chad, huge. Makes everything huge.
Wow.
Go stick certain parts of your anatomy in a microwave.
I was going to make a dick joke about radiation, and James got down there in the Mississippi and lost his religion and came back. But you're supposed to get more of that, son.
But instead of going from L.A. to Boston, for some reason it's L.A. to Detroit.
They've got to make it from Atlanta to Texarkana, Texas.
Because there's beer. This
tours.
This is true. This is the post-apocalyptic version of Smokey and the Bandit.
Wow.
It really is. It is a literally. What's really interesting about it is the Land Rover, not the Land Rover, whatever the vehicle was called in the book, they actually had to create it, and it was the most expensive part of making it. And there is somebody now that has that in their private collection. And in the movie, there's only one of them.
You see, Big and Little Enos, even a post-apocalyptic society, are thirsty.
And they need that plague vaccine that has to be mixed with Coors.
And Coors beer. That's right.
And so it turns out, but Jerry Goldsmith did the movie. If you've never seen it, again, it's a historic artifact.
Jerry Goldsmith is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful composer.
Yes.
Look him up.
They were going to mix, they put $8 million into this, and allegedly up to, arguably people argue about it, but maybe $1 million of that was just to create this vehicle for this movie, the special thing that could navigate damnation.
And the rest was for Jan Michael Vincent's drinking money.
Probably a lot of it went to George Papard, too. Let's not leave out George Papard.
A-Team.
Salt Lake City, though, was where the main apocalypse evidently hit. So if you're in Salt Lake City and you hear there's a Damnation Alley coming, get out.
That's right. So start praying to your Mormon pagan god. Sorry.
And there goes some more viewers.
It did wonder for people's blood pressure.
Salt. Landmaster was the name of the vehicle. I'm sorry. But anyway, you really should see it. It is very dated. I almost went with Logan's Run, but I talk about Logan's Run enough. Damnation Alley's the way to go.
I apologize to the Mormons in Salt Lake. Actually, I've been to Salt Lake. It's a beautiful city. It's very clean. People are very nice.
Lovely people.
The Salt Lake is salty.
Needs
nice building.
Needs some pepper.
Needs some pepper. Yeah, nice buildings. I enjoyed Salt Lake.
Oh, you should open a pepper mill in Salt Lake City. The advertising writes itself.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
You're going to steal one of mine.
You're going to Damnation Alley, too.
I think I'm going to steal one of yours. Definitely. So this was directed by Alan Johnson. Alan Johnson, I don't know if you know who he is. He actually, I picked the movie and I actually went back and looked him up because I didn't know who directed it. Alan Johnson did a lot of miscellaneous crew work for every Mel Brooks movie. He actually directed.
Really?
He actually directed To Be or Not to Be, and this movie, and that's it. And this was also co-written by Waylon Green, who would also be known for writing two of Joe's favorite movies, Wild Bunch and Sorcerer.
I do love Sorcerer. People know Wild Bunch. I still think people need to go out and watch Sorcerer. It's a damn. And
this movie stars the great Jason Patric and Charles Durning. I am, of course, talking about Solar Babies.
Oh!
I saw that, and I thought about putting it on my list, but then I went no.
Babies?
Then I went no. No, I'm not going to put it on my list.
I enjoyed the hell out of Solar Babies.
When you were a kid?
When I was a kid. Doesn't hold up much now, but it's still entertaining.
You don't think so?
It also starred Jamie Gertz, Peter DeLuise of 21 Jump Street.
I wish it was 21 Dump Street.
Hold on. Eat some more fiber. You're at 20.
I'm trying to get him to 21.
And, of course, Lucas Haas, who was also the little boy and the girl, the woman in white. I believe.
The Woman in White, yeah.
Which is a terrifying movie.
Yeah, have you rewatched that since the 80s?
It still creeps me out.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't even know that I was creeped out about it when I was a kid. The cloak closet, right? And he's hiding in
that
there.
terrified me as a kid.
Oh.
Because we had one of those closets in my school.
Oh, we didn't have anything like that in the holler.
Yeah. My school was built in the 1920s.
And as I say, and you got to remember, the school's in the holler. It's just a big bamboo tree.
What? I don't even know that makes sense.
What? not.
See, they don't even know what bamboo is in the holler, so you can tell them any tree's a bamboo tree.
We didn't even have pandas.
But
eucalyptus.
Well, yeah.
But the movie is about a bunch of roller skating teenagers.
Of course it is.
Yeah. And it's in a world that's been completely droughted. There's no water.
Did that come out before Rollerball or after?
That would have came out way after Rollerball.
Yeah,
Rollerball was directed by Norman Jewison. It came out in the 70s.
Yeah, this is mid-80s.
James Caan, watch it.
Actually,
do not watch the remake.
Oh, that's a movie I saw in theaters where I sat there the entire time going, God, I wish I would have watched the source material before they made this.
I know.
I believe her Solar Babies was 1983. But
it would have been the mid-80s.
Yeah.
I would bet it would be 83, 84, 85.
But these teenagers, they discover a magical orb named Bodai.
Okay.
You can't make this stuff up.
Could they just call him Buddy? Hey, Buddy. Hey, Buddy.
The world is under control of a military regime, and these kids are working together to protect this mysterious orb that is supposed to somehow bring water back to the world.
Water?
Is it ice? Is it a big ball of ice?
Yeah.
Is it Ice Pirates?
Oh my God!
No, it's not Ice Pirates.
But our Ice Pirates is not post-apocalyptic.
No, it isn't.
But I mean,
but it has a big connection to Logan's Run.
And if you go back and look at them in these costumes, they're wearing rollerblading pads. They have stars on themselves. It looks very 80s. And when you're thinking about post-apocalyptic, when you're talking about them, it's just one of those movies. As soon as I said we were going to talk about this, that's the first one that I thought of.
Solar Babies.
Solar Babies. I didn't think of Mad Max. I thought of Solar Babies.
See, I thought of Logan's Run, but I was like, I can't do Logan's Run. It's too on the nose.
All right.
You know, I got to bring up one obscure piece of per episode.
I don't even remember. And I know it. It's one of those you see. Actually, I probably remember the box from the video store more than I do the movie.
Yeah, which it's the kids in the background, and then there's a flying orb.
Or something like that.
And it says Solar Babies.
Solar Babies.
Why are they called Solar Babies? I mean,
because they're here to make love.
I haven't watched it in a long time, and I couldn't find a good copy.
Their love is hotter than the sun.
By the way, and the second movie I'm going to pick, the only way you can find it is if you rent it on Amazon Prime.
Great. So far, you're not getting anywhere close to me.
No. And I'm not with the second one either.
No.
The third one, the best one, is I'm worried you're going to steal from me.
Oh, I'm about to do what I think is one of my favorites.
Go for it.
Are we ready?
Ready.
This is directed by Andrew Stanton.
Okay, nope.
WALL-E.
Oh my God! Yeah. Okay.
WALL-E is post-apocalyptic. I'll argue it up and down.
No, you are absolutely 100% correct. And why didn't I ever think of that one?
You know, I don't know that I thought of it either, but when I was trying to research it, I was pulling up Vulture, IMDb, a few other things going, what does their list look like? And the only thing that I took from their list that I added to it was that several people have WALL-E, and I thought, why didn't I think of that the same way you all did? Because it is post-apocalyptic.
Well, yeah, the world
is a brilliant, beautiful film. So WALL-E is actually one of my top. I don't know.
It's my favorite Pixar film.
Toy Story 3 is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that whole ending with the holding hands.
Technically, that's not the ending.
I'm telling you, that movie got tears in the theater I was in. I remember a grown man. But anyway, we're here to talk about WALL-E. What I love about WALL-E is what a lot of people hate about WALL-E. And I'll explain this. So when WALL-E came out, there was a friend of mine's wife who was having a conversation with me. And she said, that's the stupidest movie ever. Nobody even talks for the first 45 minutes. That's the reason I love WALL-E. It is storytelling visually. We've forgotten that in cinema.
Yeah.
That's the reason why a lot of people argue that true cinema died the day sound was introduced. Or at least dialogue, I should say.
I was going to say, because that's one thing about WALL-E, is they use the sounds.
They do. But when dialogue was introduced where you could have people talk, that cinema was killed by that. And I think there's a good argument to that. go out and watch some good silent films. Watch Chaplin, watch Buster Keaton, watch
Nosferatu.
Murnau, F.W. Eisenstein. Go out, watch any of those. Yeah, From the Earth, From the Moon.
Yeah.
Check them out. Those cats were killing it on nothing and making it up as they were going on along, and they were inventing the language of cinema. That's the reason why I love Wall-E. It's just so. This is what a close-up is. This is what. Anyway, getting off topic. Wall-E doesn't have a lot of people talking in the first 45 minutes. You follow Wall-E. I don't know that there's a more lovable character than Wall-E. I don't know that there's a more sympathetic character than Wall-E in recent 20 or 30 years. It to me is a Pixar classic. I think that, don't get me wrong, as much as I love Cars is not going to stand the test of time. Wall-E will. Wall-E will be forever, I hope.
I really hope so too.
So I don't know that I need to tell the plot of Wall-E. Wall-E is a droid or a robot who's left on Earth to clean up, and he's one of the few that is still functioning. And he's by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he's made his own life. And eventually another robot shows up, Eve, and he's attracted and he loves her and he falls in love with her, and he ends up getting brought into space onto this huge spaceship where people who left Earth all these eons ago have now went, and we've basically devolved into fat, hopeless
machines are running our lives.
Machines run their lives, and that's what it's about.
And in the original draft, Wall-E was actually supposed to be fighting these gelatinous blobs, and it turned out that the gelatinous blobs were actually human beings who stayed in space too long. So they kind of kept that for Wall-E, but they changed it.
Well, they just made it more kid-friendly.
And they made it more kid-friendly, and they also didn't have Wall-E fighting. I mean, it was just Wall-E. Wall-E, I mean, he's just a loving character who just wants to be loved.
He just wants to be loved and loved.
And he has no hate in him.
None. Absolutely none. So Wall-E is maybe one of the best post-apocalyptic movies ever made.
If not the best post-apocalyptic.
That's pretty damn good.
It's pretty damn. It might not be my number one if you don't beat me to it.
I don't think so. There's one that I think is close.
Well, I was going to say, and stepping back, and I'm not to split hairs here, but Wall-E is post-apocalyptic. But if I'm wanting a post-apocalyptic film that has a dark ending, it's not Wall-E.
Of course not.
Yeah, you have to.
There's hope.
And if you're one of those people, as soon as you see the credits, you turn off a movie, you have to watch the credits in Wall-E.
Yes. And there's hope. You're absolutely right. It is a Pixar film. I mean, but it's hope that's believable.
Yeah.
Other than just forced hope.
Right.
All right, James.
All right. James, what's your number two?
Mine, who does number two work for? I want to start my number two by talking about the director. Is L.Q. Jones. Do you know who L.Q. Jones is?
I know the name.
We should have started with it. He could have been a character actor. L.Q. Jones was one of the favorite actors of a Sam Peckinpah. And to tell you a little bit about L.Q. Jones.
Oh my God, I know who. Okay.
Yep,
I would know him if I saw him, sure.
But I want to read a quote, because he said he learned a lot about acting and directing from Sam Peckinpah.
I didn't know he was a director.
And here is his quote about Sam Peckinpah, which I'm using to introduce what movie he directed. There are 3 or 4 or 5 directors who are sheer genius in what they do, and Sam is certainly one of those. But he also relies a great deal on the people around him. And as much as I think Sam's a genius, I also think he's I'm going to edit this slightly, effing idiot. But then it takes a genius to F up in the idiotic ways that he does.
What's the movie?
He directed A Boy and His Dog.
I knew you were going to do A Boy and His Dog. I knew it.
I did, and I knew you were going to bring it up as well. I did not know that was directed by L.Q. Jones.
L.Q. Jones directed 3 movies. Boy and His Dog is one of them, and he won a Hugo Award.
He got half of it.
Actually, he got all of it, and half of it was taken from him.
Okay, by whom? Jay?
Harlan Ellison.
Oh my God, I didn't know when he's
But unlike Roger Zelazny, who wrote Damnation Alley and said, gee, it would have been nice if they would have read the book before they made that movie. Harlan Ellison said they got A Boy and His Dog mostly right, which is high praise coming from Harlan Ellison.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. Have you seen it?
I've seen it, yeah.
It's an interesting film, but I don't know that it's a good movie.
I enjoyed it. I rewatched it on Amazon before we did this, because it's on Amazon Prime. But I like
Wally is available every effing where.
I loved. The problem is, Harlan Ellison wrote it as a short story, and he wrote. Actually, I think he technically wrote a fourth one short before he died. So there's multiple stories about a boy and his dog. Vic and Blood is their names.
Yeah,
and the dog talks, right?
Well,
the dog's
connected. Yeah, and it doesn't explain why, and it really doesn't seem to matter because why would it matter? But basically, the plot to A Boy and His Dog is Vic is the boy. He's played by Don Johnson in the movie. And Blood is the dog. And there's been some apocalypse. Everything sucks.
Played by Lassie.
No. Played by Benji.
10.
Played by a Benji looking dog. Anyway, Jason Robards.
Jason Robards is in it. Absolutely. He's the leader of the underground folk thing going on.
And so
where
basically,
they've got makeup and the...
Basically, the plot to the film is Vic and Blood aren't really... I mean, they talk down to each other all the time. And Blood is way smarter than Vic is because Vic's a hormonal 16-year-old boy who just wants to have sex all the time.
Right.
And Blood wants food.
This does not work out with a lady later, but go ahead.
And basically, they go out and they work together to cross these hellscapes and all that stuff. And they're watching a snuff film.
Yeah.
At a pop-up theater where people will come together and trade goods and watch a movie.
I didn't remember it was a snuff film.
And Blood smells, and he smells a woman because there's not many women left because of plague and nuclear wasteland and all that stuff. And he knows that Vic will want to sleep with a woman. I mean, that's the plot point. And they go looking for it. They find, she's played by Suzanne Benton. And basically, Suzanne Benton lures them into this underground world.
Right.
Where they basically want to use, because they're all sterile, they want to use Vic to restart the human population. And Vic realizes very quickly that there's no way he's going to get out of there alive. They're never going to let him leave. But he's separated from Blood. And Blood's having to fend for himself and having trouble finding food. And Joe kind of alluded to it already. The ending to the film is that Vic gets to pick who lives. They can save the girl or they can save the dog. And as I said earlier, that there's sequels to A Boy and His Dog, at least written sequels.
Not A Boy and His Bitch. Sorry.
The very ending of it is...
Hashtag International Women's Day.
The very ending of it is they kill the girl and they cook her.
Yeah.
So Blood will have something to eat.
And that isn't how that plays in the movie, is it?
Yeah, that's how the movie actually. Wow. And that's the only part Harlan Ellison didn't like. One of the final lines is the dog is Blood doing there, and I forget who does his voice, but
it's a character actor.
Yeah, it's a great character actor. And Blood has one of his final lines is a joke, and Harlan Ellison didn't like that. And he basically, she had a weird taste. Mm-hmm. She never did have good taste because at the end of the short story, I may be saying this because I didn't verify this and I haven't read the story in a long time. But it basically ends with the line, there's nothing like a relationship between a boy and his dog. And that's the way Harlan Ellison wanted it to end.
Tim McIntyre played Blood.
And they...
I'd have to look at his face.
So, yeah, it is... The movie feels a little bit uneven, but I honestly think that's because you took a short story. You took a short story and you tried to make it into a film.
Yeah.
It did win a Hugo, though. It was pretty close to the book. It just got re-released by Shout in an Ultimate Glossy edition not too long ago. But again, Joe's right. It is a slow film. It's an uneven film. But as far as it's the only film that's adapted Harlan Ellison that Harlan Ellison actually kind of liked. And he did. And the story is he did still have the Hugo. He said it was based on me. So L.Q. Jones screwed off the base of the Hugo Award and gave it to him. And that was his half a Hugo Award.
I thought you'd heard that story before.
I think I did hear that.
That's why you'll always hear Harlan Ellison always said he had at one point it was 8.5, I think, before he passed away. It was more. But his half was from A Boy and His Dog.
I remember. I'm starting to after you told it. I remember we talked about it during the Harlan Ellison episode that we did.
But yeah, L.Q. Jones, I mean, was in tons of westerns. He was one of Sam Peckinpah's favorite.
Yeah,
and he only directed 3 films, but he also produced it. And that was, he loved the story of Boy and His Dog. So that's how that movie got made. L.Q. Jones produced it and directed it. And that's it. So if you've never seen A Boy and His Dog, it is uneven. But if you just need a film to pass some time, it is, to me, it's in the same vein as Logan's Run. The special effects are dated. Everything feels a little bit uneven. But it would be great to see it. If you've never seen it, see it.
All right. Chad.
And who hasn't wanted to eat Suzanne Benton?
I'm diving into the world of the obscure. And the terrible.
Mine are really not all that obscure.
I know. I picked stuff I liked.
I like this too. This is another one from my childhood that I really, really liked. Just because
This isn't going to be another one where it's all shot with kids and there's
No.
gangsters. I literally was thinking about that the other day going, how did Chad see this?
Hawk Jones.
Hawk Jones.
And the backstory is I didn't have cable when I was a kid. I lived out in the boonies. I had no cable. I had no access to anything other than 3 channels. And
4 days a week, they find a badger and poke it with a stick, and that was their entertainment.
But when I would go and visit a certain cousin who had cable, I would stay up till the wee hours of the morning watching cable nonstop. And this is one of the movies that I watched, and it stuck out to me. I'm, of course, talking about the classic Circuitry Man.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right,
Thank you.
I'll give you something.
Have you seen it, James?
I've heard of it. I've heard about it, and that puts it ahead of, well, I've heard of Solar
There's a scene
Babies.
in Circuitry Man that is blazing into my brain, and I wonder
Is that, wait, is that where, does that involve a junkyard?
No, sort of, but it all takes place underground.
Yes, I think I do
blazing,
remember.
where she is walking through, and it's the guy, and he goes, "Where do you want to leave?" Because I'm sick of eating leeches. Arr.
Yeah.
Is that scene I have no idea, right?
Yeah.
Why is that in here?
Yeah, and why is this movie burned in my head for years?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you the plot.
I'm getting ready to.
Well, there you go.
And by the way, so Circuitry Man was written and directed by Stephen, and I'm going to, again, we butcher names because I couldn't find a pronunciation of it. Stephen Lovey, Lovy. Lovey.
I don't know if that's it. I just want to say Lovey.
The only thing, he did one movie prior to Circuitry Man, and then after Circuitry Man, he did Circuitry Man 2, Plughead
Rewired.
Plughead Rewired, and then did nothing else. The biggest,
how can you top
I was about to say.
The biggest star of the movie is Vernon Wells, who actually played the villain Plughead. So the plot of the movie is
I didn't know Vernon Wells was for people who don't know, Vernon Wells is the guy from Mad Max from the right.
Mm-hmm. But the plot of the movie is the human race is forced to move underground because we have polluted the surface. I meant to put surface and I spelled service because that's who I am. I'm an idiot.
Well, no, I was just waiting for a joke, man.
No. To the point, the human race, because the point of life is no longer sustainable on the surface of the earth. Sound kind of like Wall-E.
Mm-hmm.
Drugs are now chips that can be implanted directly into the brain. And this is where it kind of gets Johnny mnemonic.
Johnny mnemonic.
Yeah. Somehow a bodyguard who is also a former policewoman obtains these rare chips that are vital somehow. She's being pursued by the evil Plughead, who is more machine, due in large part to the amount of ports that are protruding from his head. And the whole movie, it's Vernon Wells. He's bald and he has all these different little sockets in his head. It just adds to the humor of the situation.
Does it?
Yes.
Is one of them a Glade for air freshener? Because, I mean, that would save you on
That'd
glove.
be funny. Or would it be like the scene from Christmas Story where you're trying to find a hole? Just hold still, Plughead. One more thing.
Yeah, but
little lights aren't twinkling, Plughead.
Oh my God.
Do you remember
Somebody get another break?
Do you remember what the plugs were used for?
No.
So
I swear I don't remember anything like that. I'm tired of eating leeches.
So the plugs were used to test the validity of the chips that were being shared.
The drug chip.
Yeah. The bodyguard teams up with a robot pimp named Danner.
As one does.
And they travel across the underground world to try to get these chips away from Plughead. And it's honestly...
It was an adaptation of his student film, though.
Was it?
Yeah, it was his
Are you doing research while I'm talking?
I was.
Okay.
He's got his new fancy iPad.
It started as a student film because I was like, "How did this get made?" And I didn't want to find so. It's
almost the first person to do that.
It's kind of like a road trip movie, really, because they're traveling through this underground world, and at one point in time they get to the surface, and he's a robot, so he can survive. She isn't, and he has to end up protecting her, and then there becomes kind of like a love connection.
Just like at the end of Alien versus Predator.
And honestly, I can't even spoil the ending because I can't remember how it ended. Because there's the only way, and I almost rented it. I almost rented it on Amazon Prime just to rewatch it, and I may go back and watch it now that I've done my research on it, just to see how it ends. But Circuitry Man, and you can find copies of it on YouTube. Check it out if you want to. The opening sequence is pretty amazing, by the way. It is.
Huh.
But Circuitry Man, check it out.
All right, boys.
What's your number 2?
My number 2.
And if I get past your number 2, I know I'm golden.
My number 2 deals with the rapture.
Nope.
Oh, God. Is this going to be another one of his Kirk Cameron films?
No, this is going to be Seth Rogen.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's directed by Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen. We have This Is the End. I'm the only one of you that picked a movie where the rapture happened.
I agree. I thought about that. But I have a hard time, and this is true. It's just the way I'm wired. If I think post-apocalyptic, I don't think anybody gets redeemed.
Well, they barely do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But at the end,
Until James Franco is getting redeemed and then leans over and flips everybody off as he's going up. Remember?
Yeah.
Zoom.
One of my favorite comments is from a friend of ours who said, "You remember that part where the giant gets cut off?"
Yeah, the giant dick. Absolutely.
Of the demon.
The only person who didn't get redeemed who really deserved it, poor Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. Absolutely.
Hey, guys.
being the sex slave to Danny McBride.
Right.
This movie has James Franco, Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, Jay Baruchel. Baruchel, sorry.
Director of The Goon and The Goon 2.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. Danny McBride, Craig Robinson, Michael Cera, Emma Watson, Mindy Kaling, Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
He's going to list every single person.
No, Rihanna, Paul Rudd, Channing Tatum, Kevin Hart, Aziz, blah, 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 blah.
Aziz Ansari. It's not that hard to say.
Aziz
Why
Ansari.
does he have a problem with people from India?
It's because I'm tongue-tied. Sorry.
What? Did he say he's done dying?
Tongue-tied.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at him.
So Seth Rogen and Seth and Jay are friends, and Jay's in town, and they have they're kind of arguing because Seth is hanging out with all these important people. Plot doesn't really matter.
No.
It's really one of the funnier films I've saw in the last 10 years.
And they should have just said up front that Jay was getting all that sweet, sweet Sorcerer's Apprentice and How to Train Your Dragon money.
How to Train Your Dragon money. I really love the movie. It even has a sequence where they... Holy shit, I forgot. What's his face's name? The movie stops and says, we're going to do the exorcism of Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Where they exorcise Jonah Hill, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It just stops and says the exorcism of Jonah Hill.
Mm-hmm.
That is so ballsy.
Yeah.
I think it's Seth Rogen's best film.
What's
better?
I think in that genre...
I like the Pineapple Express.
No,
what's better?
And I think in that genre, I would actually say it's
Sausage Party.
No.
So, is it sausage?
Don't get me wrong. That's a funny joke for a 5-minute short that he made a 90-minute movie out of.
I will actually say...
I don't think it's
There's
funny.
one movie that's not as funny, but I think Seth Rogen does a great job in.
What?
Observe and Report.
He's a good actor in it.
Well,
maybe a better acting performance.
It's a dark film.
Yeah.
And that's one that I think a lot of people didn't know what to do with because it wasn't him being...
And let's face it,
and I like the interview, too, by the way, about Kim Jong. I think that one's funny, too. I don't think it's better than This Is the End.
But This Is the End, though. What I will say about it...
Kung Fu Panda.
No, I'm sticking with This Is the End.
Yeah. No, This Is the End is probably his funniest performance.
I think, he directed it.
Yeah.
He and Evan Goldberg, and they've been friends since high school, I think. They wrote Superbad. By the way, dude, I don't know. Yeah, no, This Is the End followed by Superbad, but it's right there. Because I really love Superbad.
I like Observe and Report, but it's it's one of those that I don't recommend to people.
It's a dark comedy. That one's directed by their other.
And the sad part is it didn't get because it came out at the same time as Paul Blart.
Yeah, we didn't.
That's not even a joke.
We didn't get Observe and Report 2. We got Paul Blart 2.
If you like that humor, the guy that directed it, I forgot his name is. I think it's Jonah something too. He also is the one who directed most of the Vice Principals with Danny McBride and the other Danny McBride Eastbound and Down. Right?
How could you forget the title of that?
I never watched it all. I didn't care for that, but I like Vice Principal.
With Walter Goggins.
Walton Goggins. Oh my God. You give me shit over Aziz and
Aziz Ansari.
I don't have to talk about him ever since he's done that other stuff.
No, he's apologized. Evidently it's cool now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't keep up.
I don't either. I just happen to hear it.
I just assume most people are.
So he's not sharing a cell with Bill?
I hope not.
He's not his CNI.
Don't go to sleep, Aziz!
That's all I wanted to say.
All right, James, what's your third?
Oh, am I doing my third?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, do we need to check time?
No. Keep
No,
going.
we're actually really moving really
Okay,
fast.
Let's go.
This is. I'm going to argue. If I take this from anybody, I'm sorry, but I'm going to argue this is the best post-apocalyptic musical.
Okay, you didn't steal it. Thank God. I got it.
Repo the Genetic Opera.
Yep.
I've actually never seen it.
Repo
How
the.
have you never seen it?
It's very. To me, actually, some of the songs after I watched it the second time got stuck in my head. It is.
I don't know how you've never seen that, Chad.
It is the Hamilton of the Horror Squad. No, no, I don't know. It's the only thing that Paris Hilton actually plays well in.
Not the House of Wax.
No. The film stars Alexa Vega, Paul Sorvino, Anthony Stewart Head, Sarah Brightman, Paris Hilton, Bill Moseley, Navette Ogre, and Terrence Zdunich. It's got a cult following now, similar to Rocky Horror
Terrence
Picture Show.
Zudanich, I think is how you say it, is the guy that did the original music. He plays the grave robber.
And it was based on his work, The Necro Merchant's Debt.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a stage show.
But basically, the future, there's been a plague. Everybody's organs are failing.
You met the director.
Yeah, Darren Lynn
Bozeman.
Oh, okay.
Darren Lynn Bozeman directed. I think that was his gift, Lionsgate's gift to him for directing, 3 of the Saw movies.
Yeah.
He got to do it.
And it's from the producers of Saw.
Yeah.
Yep. But the basic plot to the film is you follow a couple different characters, but in the future, there's been a terrible plague, and everybody's organs are failing, and you constantly basically shift out organs. But if you can't pay for your organs, the Repo Man comes and takes it.
Isn't that a plot of a Jude Law movie as well?
They came after.
Repo Man. Yeah, this came after.
It came after the original. So basically, the sympathetic side of the story, because it does follow multiple characters, is Shiloh Wallace. She's a 17-year-old, has an overprotective father, and I won't give too much away.
Anthony Head, right?
Anthony Head. But basically, she's been visiting. She's been visiting her mother's tomb, and runs into the grave robber, who
Grave robber. Who
basically
Paris Hilton sings it.
Who goes to goes to people who have died and drains Zydrate out of them. And Zydrate
is a little bitty something you put the gun in the. Oh my God, I can't. It's a great. You just should watch it.
Zydrate basically though it's used more or less as a drug. It's this great pain reliever that's been developed because of this organ failure and all of this stuff.
Did they explain why people's organs fail?
It's a plague.
Oh, it's a plague.
And basically,
people are obsessed with plastic surgery.
Yeah, and so basically in the future,
so they took a small subplot of Escape from LA, and turned it into a 2 hour.
It's
better than Escape from LA. But basically, and the thing is, like Bill Moseley,
Escape from LA has a great ending.
Bill Moseley and Paris Hilton
ending.
Are siblings, right? Am I remembering that correctly? They're siblings.
Bill Moseley and Paris Hilton are brother and sister,
and basically they're elite. So they keep having surgery.
And their dad is Paul Sorvino.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The great opera singer,
and
who's also an actor.
But yeah, so basically it is a musical. It's a post-apocalyptic musical, and literally there's some songs in it that are really sad. There's some that are catchy, and you've got a 17-year-old that's lost her mother and obsessed with visiting her, and she's not supposed to because she's getting ill. And again, it's just one of those movies that when you sit around and think, post-apocalyptic, and I was like, I need to think of one that has something different. It's a post-apocalyptic musical.
Yeah, I'm not trying to harp on the point. I'm really shocked that somehow or another you've missed it.
Yeah, if you saw Solar Babies and not...
Yeah, I gotta give him... Solar Babies and Circuitry Man. I hope you don't take my third one.
I hope I do now at this point, since you just smashed my Solar Babies and give me crap for not seeing Repo.
But you should, though.
Paul Sorvino,
I'd skip the Devil's Carnival.
Paul Sorvino.
It's a follow-up. Look it up.
Paul Sorvino does play the main antagonist, and Paris Hilton is the daughter, and Joe's right. But again, all of this stuff, and Navette Ogre is the middle child in that relationship.
Is it Sick Puppies or something like that? He's the lead singer.
Yeah. But he wears the skin face of a woman. Like, he's weird. He doesn't.
As opposed to Bill Moseley and Paris Hilton as brother and sister. Because you go to Central Casting, and you're like, I've cast this Paris Hilton. Who should play her brother? Chop Top.
There's a couple other things about this really notable if you like classic kind of rock and roll, because Joan Jett is actually the one playing the guitar in the song 17. Dean Armstrong, who would later be in Saw 3D, appears as a victim, and the co-writer appears in the film and all this stuff. But there's a lot of different people that appear in it.
That's great. Are you going with this?
No, what I was going to say, though, is...
I know more about this movie than you do.
No, what I was trying to get to is, the reason there's so many different people in it is, do you know how many songs there are actually in the movie?
No. I only like a couple.
There's actually 56 different songs.
Good Lord.
Now, some of them are short musical interludes.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was that many.
But
they'd have to point them out to me, because it's not wall-to-wall singing.
No. But, some of them are like No Organs, No Problemo, which is the Gene-Co jingle kind of chorus. So, Yep. So there you go.
I was listening to this at work about a month ago.
Yeah. So the end credits actually have 5 different songs in them that they couldn't fit in anywhere else in the movie.
Well, that's what most credits do.
But it is. It's a very unique. Like I said, it's a post-apocalyptic music.
It was a stage play, actually, and he was working on it before Darren Lynn Bozeman with whatever his name is,
Zdunich. It's ZDUNICH.
They, oddly enough, were working on that before Saul came into his life.
Huh.
Yeah. So he'd always wanted to do a rock and roll.
And it is, like I said, there's parts of it that stick with me. And there is a lot of, I said, do you feel for the 17? Yeah, Alexa Vega plays the...
Yeah, she may be the weakest actor.
Huh.
And remember now, Paris Hilton is in this picture.
Yeah.
But she's playing basically...
Paris Hilton.
Herself.
So it's not too bad.
Somebody obsessed with looking always. And it's but no, you should check out Rebo the Genetic Opera.
Oh.
And if you love musicals and love the apocalypse, this is
You're not a big musical fan, but I think you don't like... I think you might... It's okay. I don't know that it aged well.
Okay.
Even though
why can't the British teach the Chad to like musicals?
I like a couple, but this is where I agree with Joe, where being able to record voices ruined cinema, because people did all of a sudden, we can sing the whole time.
You can get away with it in certain things. Wow, that's a whole other bonehead.
Yeah.
All right, what's your...
Let's take a break.
If you besmirch Rex Harrison, I will beat you like a drum.
Yeah, because
since absolutely nothing has happened, my hair is not shorter, and we're not wearing different clothes.
Too. I got my haircut.
Well, in all fairness, I was, I had to change quickly because James got excited. So yeah.
I noticed you had to do a 20-year-old Dragon Ball. So when did you get into Dragon Ball? When you were in college?
College, yeah.
That's pronounced collage.
I still. Maybe if I went back and looked at it now.
You probably still would.
I would not, probably not.
One Punch Man, though. You should watch One Punch Man.
I would, well.
So who's yours? My final...
Oh, the Jim Jones story?
Oh my gosh.
See you in court, kids.
No, so my last pick is not going to be any surprise because these two already know it. So, can you put on some acting ability as I...
Should we just admit?
Yeah.
Something went wrong. So if you're wondering... Why does it sound different? If you're watching, why do they look slightly different? There's a week. Is it a solid week?
It's a solid week.
In between the original 2/3 of this show and what we're finishing up. Because we don't know what happened, but it just didn't get onto the card. It just isn't on the card. We looked for it. Chad took his place of work and looked for it.
Let's go ahead and lay it on the table.
Joe didn't hit record.
No.
Oh, sorry.
No. Obviously, aliens are trying to stop this signal. You owe it to your humankind to follow, like, and subscribe. So
I thought he was going to say follow lichens.
Yeah.
You do. Follow lichens. Werewolf for life, Nick Brown.
That's true.
So my final pick on the Apocalypse movies is probably one of my favorite movies of all time and also one of the best Apocalypse movies of all time, Delicatessen.
Delicatessen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that where they used to go on Seinfeld and get those big sandwiches, the big salad?
No, this is worse.
It's Tom's Diner. That was Tom's Diner.
Did we really call it Tom's Diner?
Tom's Diner. It's the real restaurant. It's called Tom's Diner.
This is probably more interesting than when we did it originally.
Yeah, because we were just like, get this done.
Get it done.
No.
Where you should go is Alice's Restaurant because you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant, except for Alice.
I was with him today. Does that not look like my shirt? He
I
says
bought
that's not
this
my shirt.
myself. Look, now,
When do you ever wear red?
Yeah.
I have the maroon polo.
Yeah. Well, just because you buy your clothes at the Kool-Aid Man store too doesn't mean I can't buy there too.
That's shooting down Mississippi. It's gotten worse.
Hold on.
And in a second now he's going to scream out, Mudbug!
I was going to do my best William Keaton, sir.
Father of Michael?
Yeah.
It'd be cool if that was true, but I don't think it is.
No,
Delicatessen.
Delicatessen. So it's actually co-directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, Jeunet.
Is it Jeunet or is it Jeunet?
I need to look it up. I'm going to say Jeunet.
I think it's Jeunet.
Okay, we'll go with that.
It's Zerby.
Yeah, which, by the way, he has one of the most...
That's obscure.
God, yeah, that's obscure.
You'd have to really pay attention to the show to get that we just made fun of it ourselves.
Yeah.
That's for you hardcore fans, all two of you, and one of you, if you keep watching, I promise I'll enchain you.
But it's also co-directed by Mark Caro. And I'm just going to call him Jean-Pierre from here on out, like we're best buds.
JP.
I don't want to butcher his last name anymore.
JP is an amazing filmmaker.
Yeah, he is an amazing filmmaker. If my history remembers it, he's actually self-taught. Everything he learned, he self-taught himself. And if you've seen any of his movies, they all are very unique. City of Lost Children.
One of my favorite films.
Same here. One of my favorite films as well. He did Alien Resurrection,
which is an interesting. People piss on it, but it's an interesting alien film.
If it didn't have the alien on it,
and it didn't honestly,
have
it's probably the last interesting alien film.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Sorry.
I love Ridley.
But
I do.
Prometheus, and what was the other one?
Prometheus, they got 2/3 right, and then somewhere they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Space Cobras.
But anyway, so he's...
I'm going to make out with a space cobra.
But he also did Micmac, and of course his most famous movie is Amelie.
And
all these movies, and Very Long Engagement.
Amelie is quite honestly that and Love Actually, and I know Love Actually gets pooped on a lot, but I still love it and stand by it because it's oh my God, saccharine.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a romantic film, nothing's more beautiful than Amelie.
Right. If you haven't seen any of these movies, please check them out. But we're talking about Delicatessen. So the movie actually all takes place in an apartment building that actually is in the middle of an apocalypse. The world outside is barren. The food supply is gone.
I'm barren.
It is a very, very black comedy. And it involves a former clown who's hired as a maintenance man in this particular building.
In that week, did you look up his name?
Well, we looked him up when we were not recording.
Yeah.
So I figured
Are we
James
still
would do
recording?
It again.
Curse you.
Oh, we are still recording.
Curse you, aliens trying to stop this signal. You can't stop the signal,
You can't stop the signal now.
Yeah. But anyway, the maintenance people seem to disappear at this place. The villain of the movie is the butcher / landlord. Who rules the building as a dictatorship, and he keeps people in tow by offering a very rare type of meat since the world's food supply is gone.
I'm raising a new crop this summer of dictators.
I was going to say ass.
You're still sore.
But the movie itself is actually more than anything, it's an ensemble piece.
It is very much an ensemble piece, and it is made by an auteur.
Yeah, and there's one scene in the movie that's one of my particular favorite where it starts off with the maintenance man. He's doing maintenance around his apartment building, and then it starts rhythm starts happening, and then other people in the buildings are doing random tasks, and their rhythm kicks on, and then all of a sudden you have a full blown musical number, and it just keeps going and going.
Also, it's Stomp.
But better.
What was the past tense?
Yeah.
Stamped.
It's stamped. So, Delicatessen is my
pre-licked stamps.
But Delicatessen is my final pick because it's so amazing.
So, my final pick, I got poo-pooed on last time we did this.
Because why?
Because you all hate Richard Stanley. That's right, Hardware.
No.
Is that the pick where you're going?
No, but check out Hardware. It makes no sense. I rewatched it and enjoyed it more at 40 though than I did.
I watched it 3 years ago and I'm like, why was I censored?
I rewatched Hardware, and I thought what I admired about it was that you could tell they had no money, and the movie they got out of no money.
Yeah, with Durham. I can't.
Dermot.
The guy from the
Mulroney.
American Horror Story.
Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah, the guy from American Horror Story.
And Lemmy. Lemmy is in it.
Oh, is he? I don't remember anything about it.
He's the boat driver, and he puts on his ace of spades. He goes, "You got to check these guys out."
So Joe's final pick is Hardware.
No, it really is. It's Children of Men. And why are you poo-pooing Children of Men?
I'm not poo-pooing Children of Men. You just bring up Children of Men every chance you get.
I'm pretty sure.
Let's just say you had somebody else on this show that brought up an author that he really liked time and time again, and you mocked him.
Let's say that we did 8 episodes on Stephen King.
Oh my God.
Where did we go right?
Even Joe Hill was like, knock it off.
Knock it off.
We definitely did refer to his significant other as his wife. By the way,
damn.
Kudos on you, Tabitha King.
Yeah, Tabitha King. Tell him to kiss the fattest part of your ass.
Yeah.
Anyway, you got all that money. You can do it. We can't.
And you're a talented author as well.
She is a published author.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only published, award-winning.
Yeah, she's an author.
Yeah.
Yeah. Author. So anyway, Children of Men, I'm not going to talk about it a lot because everybody already has heard me say it, but I still think.
And we don't want to hear you get emotional again because all the children.
It was really
and all them
upset
men.
over the men.
All them big sweaty men. I don't think he was watching the same movie we saw.
I don't think so either. I had a cold glass of lemonade, and I was watching him, and I was thinking, God.
He got the vapors and swooned at least 3 times.
That muscly shirt just rippled with whatever was underneath that.
Shoot it up. We really need to talk.
Speaking of shooting it up,
I
could have spackled.
I gave him that and didn't even mean to.
You let us all down.
Spackled. I drank all that lemonade.
But you said you were going to pick another one other than Children of Men. Are you sticking with it?
I'm sticking with Children of Men because you chastised me again for saying that I was going to pick something
But Children
other
of
than
Men is definitely, I think.
Well, fine. But in episode 105, when we talk about movies with men in the title, you cannot bring that up. We are doing 30 minutes.
Job.
Damn, no, I was going to say 30 minutes of men at work.
No.
I come from a night down under.
No.
By the way,
that's the only men at work that matter.
I was thinking of changing the lines instead of a Vegemite sandwich. There's another 2-syllable word that fits there.
Well, why? What were you thinking of this?
Earlier
just today.
Yeah.
Did you have a stroke?
Not that I know of.
The fact that's a weird coincidence.
I really was thinking of it. I was going to have a whole joke about the opening of the next show that we're going to do, and now I don't want to do it.
I think that's a good idea.
You ruined it.
But Children of Men
you ruined it.
I think Children of Men is probably one of the quietest post-apocalyptic films.
Yeah.
Because
it doesn't really feel like an apocalypse movie, but it obviously is.
It really is.
We're dying. It's done.
Yeah.
There's nothing coming.
But it does have have a glimmer of hope. And I won't talk about it. Go on and watch Children of Men.
But yeah. So, I mean, Children of Men, you brought it up a couple different times, so we gave you crap. That's true. But, I mean, it's definitely a post-apocalyptic.
Thank you for, admitting facts.
So, you mean I can't run for political office?
No.
Easy now.
Not even with your new hair.
I spend a lot of time on my hair. I don't spend it at all.
It shows.
I don't spend. So, that being said, we've talked about some post-apocalyptic films. Real quick, what are some short take?
Short. It's called Murder Virgin.
That was an apocalypse, but not post-apocalyptic.
Well, like I said,
that's like number 5 on our most popular videos. If you go to Bonehead,
really,
it is. It's number 4 or 5.
Wow. But no, when you think apocalypse, you think nuclear annihilation. You think the plague.
Not nuclear.
Nuclear.
It's nuclear.
Nuclear annihilation.
Nuclear.
We've already proven that I can't talk.
I really wasn't meant to.
Nuke Scalamander.
RoboCop 2.
Plague.
Nuke.
Zombies. But you know what we don't talk about when we talk about apocalypse?
The Simpsons?
Dragons. Rain of Fire.
That's the one Christy wanted me to talk about.
Really?
And I said, yeah, and I said it's one of those movies with one of the best Matthew McConaughey performances.
Yeah, that's the only thing that saves that movie.
That and a dragon.
And the dragon, yeah. But Matthew McConaughey. No, it's not a good movie.
But Matthew McConaughey actually outacts the dragon.
It outacts Christian Bale.
I agree. He's the best part of that movie.
Yeah, that's the only reason to watch that movie is the
And
dragons.
then he kind of has a bitch way of dying.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, it's like the ending of Star Trek Generations.
Yeah.
They killed off Kirk. He fell off a rack.
Yeah. Well, originally, and originally the script, the first one draft of the script, I should say, had
That's post-apocalyptic.
Soren shooting him in the back.
Soren?
Yeah.
That's a good ride.
Yeah.
Disney.
Malcolm McDowell shot him in the back, but the reason they changed it was so he could have a death scene.
Because
If you think
that's
about it, by
also
the
a bitch way to go out.
that's what I was saying. That would have been slightly worse because he would have just been, he's vaporized. Move on. So
Anyway, you were saying? Rain of Fire is...
Rain of Fire.
It actually is fun.
It's fun.
I saw that in the theater.
I was saying about ones that we brought up that I brought up last time. Titan AE is one because the world's destroyed. Same thing we brought up.
What's this in my ear?
It's your finger.
Oh!
It's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy we brought up last time. You all brought up The Road. And I said I couldn't watch it because I love the book so much.
But The Road is a good movie, dude.
I'm sure it is. But like I said,
it's rough, but it's good.
The ending,
it is good.
The ending we talked about last time, so we'll bring it up this time. For those that have read The Road, let me go back. If you wake up one day and go...
if you love Mary Poppins...
then read The Road. No.
And you read The Road.
If you wake up one morning and feel overly positive about life, just pick up any book by Cormac McCarthy.
Pick any pistol you may have laying around the floor.
Cormac McCarthy.
My Cheerios this month came with a Derringer.
Some other posts, but so yeah, Cormac McCarthy's The Road. The book, the ending's a little bit different.
And there's also one that
we talked about the ending being.
We know how James hates classic literature.
I do.
Despises it.
If it ain't from Stephanie Meyer, I ain't reading it.
And it technically is.
Did I used to work with her?
If so, she did better than we did.
Yeah.
And this technically is an apocalyptic film. And I actually watched the newest version of it this week. The H.G. Wells' The Time Machine.
Yeah.
You could make an argument for that.
Well, they blow up the moon. Spoiler.
You were saying, Jay?
That's what I was just saying. I still haven't got. It's on my reading queue, Chad. It's on my reading queue.
I read The Time Machine. I swear, I don't even remember them blowing up the moon.
Well, they blew it up in the Guy Pearce movie. I don't know about any of the other versions.
I don't think they did that in the book. Do you know the Guy Pearce movie is directed by his great-great-grandson?
Yes. Simon Wells.
And HG spun so fast in his grave, he traveled through time. You know what I thought about after we talked about it last time, and I wanted to go back to it? You know one we left out?
What?
One of the biggest banking stars of today, one of his early film roles. I'm talking about The Rock in Southland Tales. Because I'm a pimp. And pimps don't commit suicide.
God, that movie's terrible.
It's an interesting picture.
And it's post-apocalyptic.
It is post-apocalyptic. It all goes to hell. Left Behind. Yeah. We didn't even get into the whole Left Behind series.
I'll be damned if I give Kirk Cameron $1.
Kirk Cameron says you will be damned.
Yeah.
You not making out with your wife.
You didn't bring up Tank Girl.
Sexy, stupid space cobra.
Oh, yeah. We forgot about Tank Girl.
Oh, yeah.
The amazing Tank Girl.
We really didn't.
Rachel Talalay.
Come to the show.
Snowpiercer, Stakeland.
Yeah.
There's just tons of them. Turbo Kid. No.
Turbo Kid? You were going to bring up Turbo Kid?
I've never actually seen Turbo Kid.
It's
how about Interstellar?
Interstellar is post-Earth, so I guess that is post-apocalyptic, right?
If you go by the definition of apocalypse being the end of the Earth, as we know it, there's just a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot. This is one of those tropes that will never go away because people like hearing about grim tales of us dying out.
Well, and I think it's rooted so much in our culture,
religion,
but also science. How many times you read any science thing too often? It's like there's less male babies being born. The Y chromosome's overly fragile, and you get children of men.
Eggs are bad for you again.
Eggs are bad. If you eat 3 eggs a week, you'll die of heart disease.
Yeah.
No, it's 3 eggs a day.
No,
it doesn't matter.
Now it's 3 eggs a week, and I eat 3 eggs a day.
Do you really? And look at him. Look at him. No, seriously, look at
screams
him.
heart disease.
Yeah.
Is it 3 eggs a week?
It is now 3 eggs a week.
You will die of heart disease.
Yeah.
I don't think it says it that way.
Should I pull it up on the article?
It says you're going to die of heart disease
yes,
if you
well,
eat
your
eggs.
risk increases.
A 3.2% increase of dying of a heart attack or stroke.
3.2.
Yeah.
What about the Snickers?
He's one Snickers pie away.
What about the tub of lard I eat every
I
night?
swear to God.
Oh, there's
Your
one
eggs
more
are a
I
bunch
have
of
to mention.
pussies.
There's one more post-apocalyptic film I should have mentioned, and I can't believe I didn't mention it.
What?
What am I? Speaking of Malcolm McDowell, Doomsday, baby.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
Doomsday.
Doomsday.
Yeah.
Doomsday.
Or Escape from New York.
Doomsday, the opening narration of Doomsday.
Or
I
the
watched
Road Warrior.
it again. I watched the opening. I watched Doomsday again. But that opening narration, where it's like anytime you get people in a large group, disease spreads, all that. And I was watching it again. I'm like, I love that movie. It's one of my favorite. By what's his name?
Neil Marshall.
Marshall.
The good director of the new Not Real. Oh boy.
But we haven't seen it yet.
It looks
It
promising,
may look good.
but it's not Ron Perlman.
I know. I bought his book today, by the way. But anyway, but that opening narration of Malcolm McDowell saying all that
I'm
stuff.
familiar with the picture.
If you've never seen Doomsday, if you don't have time to watch it all, watch the first 5 minutes, and then you'll end up watching it all.
Yeah, no, it's a good movie. It's The Road Warrior meets Escape from New York by a guy who obviously loved the same things we did as children.
And he threw in just a little bit of Night Riders by Romero.
Yeah.
Where you've got a little bit of that. We feel the need to joust still.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
So that's our apocalypse show.
That's absolutely our apocalypse show. This should be coming out this weekend.
And if it doesn't, you won't know because
we never did it.
Yeah.
Join us. This is going to be one of our last.
It will be our last one.
This will be our last one, but not our complete last episode.
Yes,
it
is.
could be.
I'm done.
I
I'm
just
tired
saw
of you
something
too.
light up right outside. He's got no other friends. So anyway,
Nope, I want to go live like a hermit.
what's going to change?
Nothing. I'm not going to wear shoes as much.
Oh, okay.
he's gonna get all 3 hepatitis.
Come join us Friday.
Hepatitis? Is that the plural of hepatitis?
I'm creating hepatitis F.
Friday, March the 22nd. We will be at Lexington Comic Con at 7 p.m. in the Thoroughbred Room doing our show live to tape. Come by, join us. There is still a few tickets left that we have got to give away. Once again, you have to subscribe to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify, and share us on your social media, and also like us on Facebook and Twitter, right?
Right.
And you
Do
should
all
like us
those
on
things.
Facebook anyway, because sometimes we do Facebook Live.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you do all those things, we still have some tickets left. Give us they're going quick. So it'd be funny. So they don't know if they're going quick or not. Yeah. But we do have a few left, so let us know. We do have quite a few for Thursday night. Be more than happy to help you out with that. Come by Friday, 7 p.m., Thoroughbred Room, Lexington Comic Con. Stop by, and if you're around the panels, get some free stickers. We'll have some stickers to give out.
And if by any chance between now and then the apocalypse occurs, what you want to do is show up on Friday, because we're doing this, we're taping it.
Yeah.
And you'll be in your own post-apocalyptic film.
Ooh. Because you know Joe's going to get that shit out.
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. Now, listen, we can't say that if it is post-apocalyptic that 1 out of 4 audience members may get eaten, but...
I'm editing with my left nostril, but I'm getting this shit done.
I thought you were going to say your left nut.
No, I'm not.
He gave that away to charity in 1966.
Christy likes to take him out of the charts. And with that, we'll see you. Thanks so much.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to get up. I'm fat.
Welcome to Bonehead.
Joe's trying to play
Is that
seesaw.
wrong?